Remodeling the Heart, A Love Among Bricks and Dreams. A special project. Sophie Carter had always been a determined woman. At 29 years old, she had built a successful career in real estate. Yes, selling and renovating properties with an impeccable vision. His next project was an old mansion on the outskirts of the city, an architectural gem that, with the proper remodeling, it would become the dream home of any buyer. But it needed the best remodeling company to achieve it. "I have an appointment with the owner of Carter Co. Remodels," she said to her husband. He was standing while checking his schedule. "Yes, he will arrive in a few minutes. His name is Logan Carter." Sophie nodded and went to the meeting place. What she didn't expect was that, as soon as she entered the house and in the remodeling, his world would falter. Logan Carter was not what she expected. Tall, with dark hair and a charming smile, he looked more like a magazine model than a contractor. He wore tight jeans and a white t-shirt stained with paint, which only accentuated his carefree and confident air. "Miss Carter," he said in a firm voice, extending his hand. "I am Logan." Sophie blinked, recomposing herself. "Sophie, nothing of Miss Carter." He smiled, and something in his look made her feel that this project would be much more complicated than she had imagined. Sparks in the remodeling. From the first day, Sophie and Logan clashed on everything. "That wall should be knocked down," she said, pointing to an old structure in the main room. Logan shook his head. "Not if you want man to have the original character of the house. The buyer will want an open space, and also authenticity." Sophie crossed her arms. "Do you always argue with your clients? Only when they have bad taste?" "Oh." Ella lo miró, sorprendida, pero Logan sonrió de lado. "Bromeo. Un poco." Sophie rodó los ojos. A pesar de sus constantes desacuerdos, poco a poco fueron encontrando un ritmo de trabajo. Yisinku. If Sophie noticed, they also began to truly get to know each other. "Did you always dedicate yourself to real estate?" Logan asked one day while they were arranging details in the kitchen. "No, before I worked, I was in interior design, but I wanted something more challenging." "So you like to control everything?" Sophie raised an eyebrow. "I like things to go well, what I said." She tried to keep the calm posture, but Logan had that way of provoking her that made her smile involuntarily, and that scared her. Something more than work. One night, after a long day, Sophie decided to stay to review some plans. Logan was still there, finishing details with his team. "Don't you ever get tired?" he asked, approaching with a bottle of water. "Not when something matters to me." Logan watched her for one moment. "Always so passionate?" Sophie felt his gaze fixed on her, and her pulse quickened. "Only with what is worthwhile." There was a charged silence between them. Logan took another step closer. Why Sophie felt her body tense. "I think this project is worthwhile," he whispered. "Yes, it is," she said, although she knew they weren't only talking about the house. And then, Logan did what Sophie had been waiting, and fearing since day one. She kissed him. It was a slow, intense kiss, as if it had been kept for weeks. Sophie felt her resistance crumble as her hands tangled in Logan's hair. When they separated, both were breathing heavily. "This is a bad idea," Sophie whispered. "Probably. But I don't want to stop." Logan smiled. "And once, don't do it." And Sophie, for the first time in a long time, decided to take a risk. Heart complications. Everything would have been perfect if feelings hadn't started to complicate everything. Weeks went by, and although they tried to keep their relationship secret, the tension between them was evident. "You're distracted lately," his assistant commented one day. Sophie quickly denied it. "I am fine." But I wasn't. Every time I saw Logan, my heart beat faster. Every time we said goodbye, I felt something was missing. And then, the offer arrived. A buyer was into he lived in the house, and was willing to pay a fortune for it. The problem was that this meant the end of the project. The end of what united her with Logan. And Sophie wasn't sure she wanted to. Oh, the most difficult decision. "So, the house is sold," said Logan, leaning against a table. Sophie nodded. "Yes. That's good, isn't it?" She didn't answer immediately. "Yes, I suppose." Logan observed for a moment before approaching. "Sophie, what's wrong?" She looked down. I don't want this to end." Logan took her chin and forced her to look at him. "Do you mean the house or to us?" Sophie swallowed. "To both." There was a long silence before Logan spoke. "Do you want to know a secret?" She nodded. "I don't want it to end either." Sophie felt a surge of relief. So what do we do? Logan smiled. We can sell the house and build something new together. Sophie smiled. And for the first time in a long time, she didn't feel afraid. Because she knew that, without no matter what happened, Logan would be by her side. And that was worth more than any property. End.